we're back with part two. We all know who the player of the year is. Nobody has come to Premier League and done what he's done to Premier League, so there's no point even going over it. But we just want to hear some. I want to hear FJ Bull, yes, Haaland, whatever. I want to hear other nominees for player of the year. Who are? I want us to have 5. So obviously Haaland is the guy, but who are the other nominees for player of the year?
Kane.
Yeah, I think Kane.
Yeah, Kane is it's like Embiid and Jokic, where one is all NBA first team, meanwhile the other one is second in MVP. Like Kane is actually second. Who else?
What's this guy's name that we mentioned before? Would you put Rashford there? Oh, KDB. Yeah, I forgot about him. Sorry. You know, like that's the thing. You forget about guys. You forget about guys like KDB because you know,
like KDB, chill. What do you mean you don't know about KDB?
Guy, you forget.
I want to do Rashford.
When Haaland is getting 36 goals, like sometimes like he might go under the limelight. But this is his 4th season getting more than 15 plus assists in a row.
Bro, KDB,
like 16. He goes 16, 20, 16, 16 or something like
that. What I want to say, when you look at KDB consistency, it's a joke. Because KDB only started 28 games and he has 23 GA for midfield.
But if it is by consistency, Salah should be there as well, no?
Salah's I'll take it. Salah's a legit.
Salah can't be there. Salah isn't even in our team.
I can't lie. If I'm being real, Salah cannot be there. Salah cannot be there. He cannot
remove Salah. Remove Salah. I feel like one of the big Arsenal 3 should be here.
Yeah.
Whichever one you want to put, one of the 3 ought to be here.
Yeah, that's facts.
Saka then.
Saka props.
That guy's been pissing me off recently,
I think in terms of like my team, like although like Bruno is our best player, I feel like Rashford should be there over him, like if that makes sense. Just because just the way like how important he's been for like the whole, you feel me? I don't know.
I wouldn't mind putting both. When you look at Rashford's numbers, he's actually been very, very consistent. There was a 5-game stretch where he didn't score. Other than that, he never went more than 3 games without a goal. His output was good across the board.
I think Rashford should be there.
This is just nomination. So Rashford, Bruno played like every game for United. No, I don't remember.
Bruno can't be there. Can't be Bruno and Rash. Sorry.
Yeah, this United love me. I don't like this crap.
We go Rash, then last one.
That's 4 already. That was 5.
Yeah, we have 4.
Kane, KDB, Rashford.
Huh? Yeah, boo.
Who did you say?
Yeah, boo. Not for team, not for player of the year. Trippier.
I'm joking.
Who? Who do you
Trippier.
say? Nah, who do you say?
He said Kieran Trippier.
No.
I think we have our 5 already. One of the Arsenal 3, Kane, KDB, Rashford, Haaland. That's 5. We're calm there. Next is young player of the year, and I want us to change it to like, how old is Haaland? 22. I think young player of the year should be. Young player of the year can be won by 24-year-olds, and I feel like 24, you're already an established guy by that age. So that's too high. So let's say under 22 or under 23. Who else?
Haaland.
If it's under 23, it's Haaland now. So maybe we can do.
No, it's still him. It's still him.
Okay, so the other guys.
Wait, somebody's peers making noise.
Yeah.
Rashford should be there.
Stop, guy. How old is that one? 26. Saka and Martinelli have to be here.
Yeah, fair,
Yeah, Saka and Martinelli can be there.
So we have Saka, Nelly, Haaland. Who else has had a great season?
Modric.
Modric.
Guys are mocking.
That
Guy, how many goals has Modric scored in Prem?
Bro, guys are mocking. Bro,
Guys,
but there's
I'm
still
about
1007. Don't worry. There's still 1007. There's only one.
Oh,
There's
I
only
forgot.
one. Fat Joe.
Jaden.
I forgot Saliba.
Yeah, you want to just put all
Yeah, I beg, guy.
Chill down.
No, but okay. Give me who. Saliba's impact.
Bro.
You literally
That's
saw
what
it
had
when
the
he
plan
left.
from the start. Which
Yeah, he has a plan.
Bro, he did not. Bro, he did not forget him. He wanted to say it.
No. See how the guy now names the names like slowly,
Slowly,
one by
just-
one, so that I don't think the guy's thinking about.
You guys think you've done something?
Ah,
Jay?
but
Bro, okay,
I
I
can't
don't.
like, let's
Saliba-
just leave it at 3. But you can put him if
No. Wait, how many GA does Garnacho have? Because I feel like his impact has been a lot.
Garnacho isn't there.
Nah, he's not. They're
Garnacho
not.
has literally been like
Yeah,
how come
Guy,
ball,
Olise and Eze
come
can be
ball.
there. Young
Yeah,
player.
yeah,
For young
fact.
player.
Those are very good. Let me check out.
That's
Olise.
a good show.
Olise and Eze for
Olise
young
is
player.
21. Olise has 10 assists, so 11.
Yes,
assists.
so Eze has
I'll
10
take
goals.
How old
Yeah.
is it? 22?
Yeah.
No, Eze is 24. That's too old.
Oh, Eze 24. Olise is the
Olise
shout.
is there. I agree with
Yeah.
that. That's a good shot.
Olise is fresh.
Who else is? I'm trying to think of young. Most teams.
Noni
don't have that.
Madueke, bro. Don't worry. That guy Ebola. I think he should be there.
Bro.
Like, let's not be wasting time.
Like, I
How
can't
old
let's
is-
not be wasting
How
time
old is
now.
Caicedo? How old is
Like,
Caicedo?
No,
I
I'm
can't
not
like
going to
OJ.
do
I
That's
think
a,
he's
that,
a
no,
baller,
that's
but
a
not
good
right
shout.
now.
That is a good shout.
Caicedo.
Oh yeah.
Caicedo,
21.
yeah,
I'm
that's a
happy
good
with
shot.
that. He's 21.
Yeah, he's there. He's there.
He's there.
I was even thinking about him for that Brighton player that we put on bench, but I just freed it.
Yeah, most disappointing team is Chelsea by far. To spend I don't care how much you spend. To spend that much money, you sack an established manager who won you the Champions League. You guys spent 600 million, and at the moment, or not at the moment, the season's over. You're 12th. No matter how bad, like every big team has had bad seasons. Liverpool had seasons where they're finishing 8th. Arsenal finished 8th twice. United had down periods, but none of us ever finished in the bottom half, and so comfortably. You guys were not even close to top half. Like, it wasn't a debate. You finished 8 points off the top half. That's very significant. Brentford, Crystal Palace, your baby brothers in London are outshining you with far inferior. There's no excuse for this. As Uche said before, that Liverpool were
Talk
dragging
your
with Chelsea.
shit. Talk your shit, Arthur.
Before we were mocking Liverpool and Chelsea together. Now the gap between them is 23 points. They left you behind. They sorted themselves out.
Whole time.
You guys had relegation form. Like, you lost 16 times, drew 11 times.
All I'm saying though is just like the team, bro. The team's ass. That's all I'm gonna say, bro. I'm not even about to. You feel me?
Guys, see, obviously, disappointment of the season is Chelsea. Like, it's obviously Chelsea. Chelsea have had such a bad season. Like, I don't think even me as a fan, I have ever watched my own club do this badly. The only time I remember us doing anything close to this, we went on to win the Champions League that same season. So it kind of like balanced everything out. But I still think that there are like two teams that like were also really big failures this year. Obviously, Ato has already mentioned one of them, but I feel like Arsenal, even though they finished second, chill. Even though they finished second, the way Arsenal season ended was a disappointment.
Cool. The way the season ended was expectations are relative.
I'm not saying that you guys played shit. I'm just saying that Arsenal had a disappointing season based on where you were at Christmas. And the other team that I want to speak about is Leicester, because Leicester have top quality players. They have no reason to be relegated. Bro,
they got,
at some point in Didi, everyone wanted that guy. Tielemans, people wanted him. They have Maddison. They have a striker, Vardy. They have Iheanacho. They have players. They have Harvey Barnes as well. Like, there is no reason for them to be getting relegated. And obviously, them and Chelsea is obviously one of the two. I was just talking about the Arsenal take, but they were also quite disappointing. I just had to put that out there. But
some of us finished P2, some of us finished P12, but it's okay.
It has to be Chelsea or Leicester, but I'll give it to Chelsea just because of how much money.
Don't pretend it's close.
And everything. It is close, bro. Why is Leicester getting relegated from Prem? Do you know what relegation is?
Shut up, you. You are lying. It's not close.
Bro, do you know what relegation is? Guys should chill.
Nah, because they got
bro,
because
you
because they
spent
got bro, because they might as well because they might as well have you and goal, bro. They feel me. I don't
Bro,
know who.
start of the season, who would have said Leicester getting relegated a big?
Yo, guy,
Bro,
like,
That's
Oja, you
fair.
forgetting that, like, this is probably like,
I'm saying no. See, I said
bro.
both seasons have been very, very disappointing. I'm going to go with Chelsea because I am a Chelsea fan and I expect my club to do better. But it is quite close. It isn't like as
Bro,
big as you guys are making it out to seem.
bro,
But I'll give Chelsea
FJ,
as the unanimous disappointment of the season, kind of like
bro,
the
bro,
reverse
FJ, FJ, and Victor. Who do y'all think is? You know
Um, Chelsea's more disappointing, bro.
yep, Chelsea.
Like I understand what you're saying because like I can't lie, Leicester don't have any business being relegated. But at the same time, firstly, let's be honest. Like we spoke about this before. How are you letting your captain and your goalkeeper, like by far the best goalkeeper your club, leave and think, yeah, we don't need a replacement right now? Like that was a big, or at least the replacement that they had, like his ass, like he's horrible. Like that's
Yeah,
horrible.
it goes
Like, that was
against
a
Danny
big,
Ward with half.
yeah,
Like
and that was the beginning of the season. That was from the get go. Like they didn't do themselves any favors. But at the same time, yeah, they have a team that should not be in that position. I feel like other teams like Brentford, other teams like Palace, at least they tried to build on a couple of things during the season, and Leicester like literally almost went backwards. Like they were just disappointed. But Chelsea, bro, no, you guys spent so much money, man. If City did that,
Yeah.
like if City did that, bro, like it's finished. Like you have to just take it where it is. And I like you're taking it, I understand that, but like you need to understand that was bad. This was a bad season. Like this was bad.
Well,
Which is
as
why
I've
I keep
said,
saying
bro.
like it's a bad season. You have to now match it with an amazing season. Like you can't like
Yeah.
you need to
I feel like when we talk about Arsenal and City, right? I feel like Arsenal fans like every time they even when they were first, that they felt like they were in dreamland. They felt like they just waiting for this shit to crash. And I feel like when you talk about the games that they sold, the games that they lost, I feel like even Man City, bro, it's times where maybe Holland is off and KDB is off, but the thing is like they can afford to be off because they have like a crazy solid bench and they have like a really really good team. But think about Arsenal though, but like you gotta realize, bro, but their players of the season, like Saka, like Martinelli, like Odegaard, bro, they like 23. Like the average age is 23, bro. It's not, bro. I don't think it's like selling if those like 23-year-old players, like, but I feel like if they won the league, that'd be something out of the ordinary. Like these young
the
players, like.
reason the reason I think most people say it's selling isn't necessarily to do with the team, is to do with what the fans were projecting because of what the team was doing. If Arsenal fans weren't so loud, I don't think everyone would be so quick to say, "Oh, you sold." But the truth of the matter is, I don't even know who the influence this is. You had guys coming to City Stadium dressed in black. You had them coming to City Stadium carrying Prem, talking about this and that. Like, I understand it, but like it got a bit loud. Some guys were saying that they'll that thing about your ticket prices at the end of the season soaring because guys were saying, "Oh, we're gonna live with Prem." Yeah, you know what I mean? All
even
these
after
things.
they won at Fulham, I think they had the picture with the clock and all of them were around and like the way the season went and the position that they were before they then sold is the reason why it was a disappointment. Obviously, at the start of the season, if you say Arsenal finished second, that is a very good season. But based on where they were and where they finished and how they finished as well, I think it has to be a disappointment because
Also, that's true because if you think about you have to think about where they were, how many games out they were as well, and like
yeah,
I feel like if it was a situation whereby like let's say even like 20, 25 games had gone, cool. I think it's the fact that it was like what we cleared you. Obviously, we beat you guys. Then we'll draw level with the game in hand, and then we didn't drop, and then you guys started dropping. I think how many games then was that? Like 30 something, like
we
30.
were we were quite consistently 5 points ahead, but you had a game in hand. That was always the
Yeah,
situation. There was a
and then
time
we
we went
beat.
to 8. You had 2 games in hand.
Yeah. So
Because you
when did we
drew
when
to
did we beat you
Forest.
basically?
you beat us in February, and then by the time you beat us, it was already kind of done because we drew 3 games in a row, which was Liverpool,
How do you
West
draw
Ham.
3 games in a row and want to carry a title?
Oh, we didn't
You can't do that now. Come on.
Yes, we
You,
know.
like-
I can't remember. We beat somebody before we played City. We definitely had one more game because we didn't go into City off the back of 3 draws. We won.
Oh no, you did though. You did. You went
Who did we
Liverpool,
beat?
Arsenal 2-2, West Ham, Arsenal
West Ham.
2-2, Arsenal, Southampton 3-3, Man City, Arsenal 4-1, and then after that
Was
you
it
beat
straight up?
Chelsea.
Damn. When was the Newcastle game?
Newcastle was after Chelsea, and then you beat them
Was
as
that
well.
after Newcastle was after Chelsea? My timeline is completely mixed up. But yeah, I understand from the position we were in, it's disappointing. But I think from a holistic view, the fact that nobody expected us to be there, the fact that's the youngest team, the fact that we're supposed fifth, we finished 5th last year. 4th would have been a great season. So I think it has
It's one of
to
them.
be
It's one of them
Chelsea.
ones that because you guys got into that situation.
Yeah,
And you guys.
it's the same as
for a long time. You didn't show any signs of slowing down.
Slip,
So
yeah.
eventually, when you did, it just
It's like,
happened.
whoa.
So happened that it was like so close yet so far type of moment. Do you know what I mean?
It's
And then
kind of
that's to then project failure, like the target of failure onto that, because obviously, like like for example, like the way I explain it's like like when you play FM, you're doing better than you thought you would, and then the board now contacts you to now change your season expectations. It kind of felt like Arsenal season expectations are now changed to win the title. Do you know what I mean? And like you were in the drive. I don't want to say driving seat, but I just don't know another word to use. You were just there, like you were in the front. It was more like the whole league were kind of reacting to what happened. You win, we have to win. You lose, okay, calm. Like you know what I mean? So you were like the ring bearers for a while. And because it happened for so long, like what, how many, like 280 days or something. For the majority of the season, you guys were first. So that's what everyone's gonna remember. I think when you break it down, it makes sense because you then look like you did have an injury there, and like you did have young players here, whereas City are monsters, and everyone knows by January, the turn of January, City now start to accelerate. Like the ways to draw it up. It's just the way in which it happened. It was the scene.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of like the Miami Heat right now. Like nobody expected them to get past the Bucks. Nobody expected them to get to the conference finals. Nobody expected them to beat the Celtics. But once you're 3-0 up, you just have to find a way to see it out. Obviously, that's a drastic example, but expectations change along the journey because you've shown what you're capable of along that journey. And next
what's the next one?
Next is most disappointing player, like individual. Who did you think was gonna drop 20 goals or something?
Most disappointing player for me has to be Richarlison. Has to be Richarlison. And I'm not saying it because like it's not like I never really expect much from Richarlison. It's just that the way it happened was kind of sad. You signed for 60 million, then you're not really doing much. You score these like disallowed goals, which don't mean anything. You then go to the World Cup and you score probably like the contender of goal of the season. Everyone now thinks, oh, okay, he's gonna bring this form to the Prem, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't bring it. He obviously has some issues with his coaches and stuff, but he didn't bring it. Like, did he score a goal? He scored 1 goal, right?
Against Liverpool.
He scored 1 goal against Liverpool. Yeah. And then they even conceded after. So it couldn't even be the winner or the drawer or, they conceded after. And it's just, you scored 1 goal after being bought for £60 million. Like,
yeah, I hear it. Because the whole point was to get him in. And the whole thing was Kane is always carrying. Son is always carrying. They needed some help. Obviously, they brought in Kulusevski. He was supposed to be that other guy to go along with them. And that's just not. Kane has dropped 30 goals and Richarlison has 1. So I can't fault that. My 2 were personally Reece James. I think was incredibly disappointing. Reece James scored 5, had 9 assists, and like he only played 26 games. So the whole thing was like, if Reece can stay fit for a season, Chelsea's title challenge was over once Reece James got injured. So this season, I was thinking, cool. He's going to challenge Trent for best right back. He's going to play 30 games. Chelsea are going to push on from what they did last season, which is finished 3rd in a season after winning the Champions League, which is a very respectable season. And he did absolutely nothing. Between injury, when he was playing, he was underwhelming sometimes. He played 16 games, which is less than half the season. So it's not that his performances were always bad, but again, availability is your best ability. We want to see Reece James is like 24, 23. So the fact that there were times where he rushed back from injury, got injured again, it was just the whole campaign was just underwhelming. And then the fact that Chelsea was so bad anyway makes it even worse. The other player was Heung-min Son, because Son went from winning a Golden Boot, scoring 23 goals, to scoring 10, and he just scraped 10.
It's interesting because I find it really funny that happened based off the fact that me and my brothers were talking about this, and we said after he's got Golden Boot, yet somehow didn't make it into the team of the season, we said he's not going to have a good season next season. And I think it's basically down to the fact that type of thing can do something to a person psychologically. Like, no matter who it is, like, no matter what's happening, if you're getting Golden Boot and they can't even find a spot for you in the team of the season, like, they don't respect you. Like, they don't respect you. Like, this season, I understand that it's tough and stuff, but I actually think that it might have been a cloud from last season not getting the accolades he deserved, not getting that respect. I think that could have hurt him a little bit as well. Spurs were obviously dead as well, but like, you know, I do think it's
I hear what you guys have said. First of all, obviously Reece James is my boy, so I have to start by like backing him. There's nothing much you can do against injuries. Like, if you are injured, you are injured. He was injured and he was our best player.
He rushed back.
He was injured.
When
he didn't choose to rush back though.
No, when Southgate didn't pick him for World Cup, he was there doing cryptic messages.
Yeah, because he wanted to go for the World Cup first, but he came back and Graham Potter rushed him back. Literally,
that doesn't make sense though, because if he was rested through the World Cup, so how could he still be injured? But he wanted to go to the World Cup. So
we're just going to agree to disagree there. I can't lie, but
that doesn't make sense.
For biggest disappointment of the season, I'm going to go with a Chelsea player still. I'm going to go with Koulibaly because before the season started, I heard so much about him. Napoli baller. At points, Koulibaly was arguably the best CB in the world. And I was like, Koulibaly is going to come to my club. Chelsea have stolen this guy. I think it was 40M. And he came and he scored against Tottenham in Stamford Bridge. And from there, his career just went downhill. Koulibaly might be our worst centre-back right now. And I am not joking. I see him playing football, and I think I might actually be better than him. Because, like, he's too rash. His passing is bad. His position is terrible. But just based on, obviously, Chelsea have been the biggest disappointment of the season, it makes sense that a Chelsea player is also the biggest disappointing player of the season. And what I expected when we signed him and what he produced are just two very, very big contrasting things. So I'm going to have to go with him as the biggest disappointment of the season.
I hear it. That's no bad shout. I wanted to mock Victor and call Dawizi, but he didn't really have it bad. He got in. Now, my only issue with Darwin is that I don't know if you guys remember when at the beginning of the season, Bleacher Report and all these foolish media guys were trying to make it out like Liverpool and City were going to slug for the title and it's going to be Haaland versus Nunes, which is clearly not what happened. Obviously, Liverpool had a disappointing season as well. Liverpool was supposed to finish second at worst because they finished 1 point off the title last year. They were in the Champions League final. So being outside the top four was nobody thought Liverpool were finishing fifth at the start of the season, aging midfield or not. Nobody thought Fabinho was going to fall off a cliff. Thiago was obviously injured at points. Like, nobody thought Liverpool were going to be this bad. So the answer is not Darwin, but yeah, it's you'll be back, but it's unfortunate. And then the next question was unsung hero of the season. So who's somebody we haven't mentioned before that deserves flowers for performances this year? It's quite a niche one, but
I mean, to be fair, the way Victor was talking about Bernardo, I wouldn't mind putting Bernardo as like mine because, to be honest, like as a City fan, I didn't put him in the team of the season. So maybe, I mean, and what Victor was saying is correct. He shows up all the time. It might have been a case of me. I've just gotten used to it. Like I've just gotten used to seeing Bernardo just running around everywhere. Like, and it's not normal, you know. Like it's actually not normal because he came to our team the first time Bernardo Silva was in the team of the season for the Premier League, he was a right winger. He was a right, and he can still play right wing, of course. He had something like that season. He had some like quite good numbers. Like I think maybe 10 plus or something. Like he had pretty good numbers, and that's a right winger. Fast forward to now, Pep is using him everywhere he can. He's using him at right wing, left, like not really left wing, but on the left side of midfield, right side of midfield. He can push up. He can be sometimes the one that gets the ball from the keeper, based off the fact that he's someone in the City team that can keep possession at any part of the field because he understands what every single position needs to do. So much so that we even played him left back. Like, you know, you don't get many players like that you can just
Like, bro, I don't understand how this man didn't enter team of the season. I don't understand.
Yeah, God, no, it's I just think it's because it might be because of the flexibility thing. Because we see him play in so many different positions, it's quite hard to be like, oh, okay, CM will put him there, or okay, right wing, because there's someone that's been playing right wing the whole season that's been doing amazing. Someone that's been playing that CM the whole season that's been doing just as well. But Bernardo's been doing it everywhere, so it's quite hard for us to pinpoint exactly a place to just keep him.
It's crazy because my answer is also a City player, and it's crazy
Really?
that the team that has won the Prem this season and has been the best team in the world has unsung heroes. But I think I have to go with John Stones here because obviously he didn't end up the season because he couldn't really count as a CB. But you have to understand that as soon as Pep switched to this demonic formation that nobody has ever seen, with John Stones playing as an inverted wing back, Klopp too has now started trying to now copy it. Like guys do not get that Pep has changed the game. Like before our very eyes, Pep has literally changed the game, and the player that he used to do it was John Stones, who has only like played like fantastic performances in that position every game. So I think I have to give it to Stones.
This is why, and thank you for touching on this. I'm going to speak about Rico Lewis very quickly. The reason as to why I say Rico Lewis is important, it's not because of just what I think, but Pep said it himself. Before Rico Lewis came into the team, when Pep wanted to implement this tactic, John Stones couldn't play that position because he didn't know how. Like, he didn't actually know how. Kyle Walker stopped playing because he didn't know how to play that position either. Like, they couldn't play it, but an 18-year-old Rico Lewis could play the position. That's why he was starting in week in, week out. Like, having guys like that, seeing your youngsters doing stuff like that, like, it will drive you because ultimately they're going to be better at that position. Look, John Stones is amazing in that position. But seeing the fact that a youngster has come in and done that, and you're actually looking at him do it, and you're like, all right, you're getting 33-year-olds, and you're getting 26, 27, 28-year-olds learning from him. That's why I say he pushed on because of him, we were able to get that inverted wing back with that second, like, CB acting like a, you know what I mean, like a DM/RB because of him. John Stones now grew into that, became 2 times better at that than anyone else. Kyle Walker now had a go. He even did very well. So, like, we were able to now implement that formation because of that. And when we start becoming so much more dynamic.
You're gonna call me biased again. I think Stones, I'd almost call the best centre back in the Premier League. So I understand your argument because this season he hasn't gotten as much acclaim as he should. Like some of these combined XIs, I see other City centre backs that Stones is better than be put in. But I think Granit Xhaka is the definition of an unsung hero because Xhaka has chipped in 14 GA from midfield, 7 goals, 7 assists, and the games that Xhaka hasn't played, when Fabio Vieira stepped in, it's been whack. Lokonga couldn't do the role Xhaka did. Xhaka learned to play the advanced 8 role, which he never played before. Odegaard is actually deeper half the time than Xhaka is. So I think unsung hero, it's not player of the season, not team of the year, but for unsung hero, Xhaka is.
Yeah. Okay, to be fair, because one thing I remember at the beginning of the season thinking, damn, this guy's getting more GA than he used to get.
His finishing as well. Like sometimes I feel like midfielders have better finishing than strikers. They just don't have the chance to show it. Because a lot of the times these midfielders get chances sort of edge of the box and they dispatch them. Like they find a corner
and
quite regularly.
That's very true. That's very true. I think
it's the same thing with KDB.
So I feel like with that whole situation, with that whole picking Xhaka, I think he's unsung based off the fact that, especially with this tactic that Arteta's going towards, he just fits it really. And it's a shame because you don't have anyone in your bench that can then kind of do the job that Xhaka can do in that position. Whereas teams like City, of course, like that's the easiest one to use. City can have, for example, that formation we play now. That one we have 4 kind of like wingers / attacking midfielders, 4 on the press, just behind Haaland. The thing is, those 2 behind the striker, we have about 4 or 5 players that can play that exact position. You know, we have Julian Alvarez, we have KDB, we have Cole Palmer that plays it sometimes. I've seen Sergio Gomez play that. I've seen Bernardo Silva play that. You know what I mean? And I think it comes down to depth. So it's like if Arsenal want to get there next season, you know, you guys are going to get a replacement for Xhaka, I believe. But then you have to get another one as well because you need to make sure if he's out, someone can play that position and like there won't be any discrepancies. Yeah.
That's the big difference between the 2 of us this season anyway, because as you said, Saliba going out, everything fell to crap. Holding Kirill like he was experimenting and nothing where obviously Kirill of late has come in and been calm. Today he played Partey right back, Kirill left back because Zinchenko's injured as well. It's unnatural fits. That obviously today tactically was interesting because he sort of went to a 4. We basically defended with 5. It was 4-1 and then like 2-3, basically. Which was interesting. I guess that's what they'll be doing moving forward. So it's Odegaard and then LCM, whoever replaces Xhaka. We pretty much need both Rice and Caicedo to compete next year because, as we said, the standard at the top is only going to get better, and City are the standard. If City's got 100 points next year, we'd all be like Fez. Like it would not be a surprising thing because there are a lot of games this season you could point to where City should have won and drop points. Obviously, it's easier said than done, but yeah. On to Team of the Year. Across the whole
Team
season.
of the Year is City though. Like
I don't
obviously there are some honorable like shouts like
But do you know what?
I'll
say my top 3 would be I don't even know if I should make it a top 4, but I'll make it a top 3. City, I'm always gonna pick City. I feel like just when the going gets tough, like we always just make it through. See, now I could pick Arsenal. I easily could because they did get second most points and they had that front 3 is kind of crazy. Well, when I say front 3, I mean those 3 young players in Odegaard, Martinelli and Saka. Like it's so exciting to watch. So for me, in terms of the football they play, definitely top 2. I want to put Brighton in there because I love what Brighton have done this season. They pretty much, I mean, they were the dagger in Arsenal. Like, you know, like they messed Arsenal up, like realistically, like in that game, like, and they don't seem to be afraid of top 6 teams, like, and I like teams like that, like they've put a stake in. Then Newcastle, this whole money thing is just coming to plan for them, like you can just see it, like you have to be an idiot not to see what's going on there, like they're just slowly putting building blocks into place, and it's like it's kind of scary because they have all the funds, they just need to spend it smart. You know, and they did well this season. They had that bullish midfield that didn't take like crap from anyone. Like they could run over players. They started getting Willock involved. Like Isak, when he actually came back, the guy was cold. They now had Callum Wilson. Like if Isak wasn't even there, you know, if I'm talking about someone that's been disappointed this season, Anthony Gordon has been disappointing as well. That guy is just trash. Like, you know what I mean? Like you signed him for that much money. What did he even do? I didn't even see him. Like.
So obviously I'm going to go with City first because again, like they are just the best team in Prem for yet another season. Like flaws to their game, I can't really see too many. Like I can't tell you who I believe like cannot fit their own team because even if they failed their second team, I think Atu said that their sub striker is better than like a lot of strikers in Prem. So I obviously have to go with City first. Then after that, everything you said about Newcastle is spot on. Like they've been really, really good, and I think they should be there as well. The only team that I would say that you didn't mention is Fulham. Their first game they played Liverpool, and I think they drew that game 2-2. And a lot of like people were like, "This team, are they going to go back down?" Mitrovic comes to Prem and he always does nonsense, and then he goes back to Championship and then he's playing like Pele and stuff like that. And I feel like they held their own really well this season. So that's the only thing that I would add to the team.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about Fulham. They've been done really well this season.
I think Aston Villa definitely deserve a mention because where they were with Gerrard compared with what they did with Emery. Aston Villa in Europe, which at the beginning of the season, you'd put them closer to relegation battles than Europe. Top 10 at best is the expectation.
At the beginning of the
Seventh
season,
ahead of Tottenham is crazy. Brighton as well are in Europa League comfortably in the end. Entered Europa League. Again, they capitalized on Chelsea and Tottenham being whack, but they lost their manager, who we all thought was the reason they were doing so well, but need to get even better. Obviously, Potter laid the foundations, but De Zerbi has taken them to a whole new level. And Brighton possession, like Pep has said, he's literally looking at some of their building out the back, because building out the back, they're probably the best. It's crazy. So
yeah,
Brighton, Villa, Newcastle, you guys already touched on, so there's nothing more I need to add there. But those
100%. Like with Aston Villa, they started the season. It was just it was their best centre back at the time, Diogo Carlos, who did their big summer signing, like tears his Achilles, out for ages. You're thinking, oh, it's just gonna be the same, really. Like, we're gonna see a mid. No, not someone that's gonna get relegated, but not someone that's gonna do so well. Yeah. When Emery came in, it almost made me look back and just it put my respect as Emery as a coach, because even when he was at Arsenal, I never actually lost the respect for him because I knew he was a hard manager. He's always been a hard manager. Yeah, like he went to PSG. Obviously, PSG is not an easy team to coach when you have so many superstars, and then you come to Arsenal. Right? Was he the first after Wenger left?
Yeah.
Yeah, right after Wenger left, there's gonna be a change. It's a change of an era. Like, it's not gonna be easy by any means when like a coach that's been there for so long, because the whole culture of the club is now gonna change. Just like it went with Ferguson, and just how it's gone with Wenger, it's gonna change. So it's hard. But when he went to Villarreal, he got them to the semi-finals of the Champions League. I don't know.
He won
Europa. He won Europa. He didn't win the Super Cup against Chelsea, but they played well, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
They played very well, and he put a claim in there. So he's a great manager. He's an amazing manager.
Yeah, I think those are good teams to end up that question on.
And then the last question was manager of the season. This is kind of synonymous with team of the year, because obviously the best managers have performed the best.
I don't even think so. I feel like it might have to be Eddie Howe, just because of what FG said as well, with the whole money thing. Like new owners coming, and they expect you to either bring this new signing or the expectations just change as soon as money enters anything. And I feel like the way he has handled it has been really good. The acquisitions that he has got have all fit the board. There hasn't really been anyone that I have been like, why exactly have we signed? Even the Gordon one that you spoke about, I think Gordon can fit the way they play. I just think obviously like time, but obviously Pep is there every year, but just based on how much Newcastle did and how much he has done, even with the new ownership, I think I'm just going to go Eddie Howe on this one.
And like the thing about Eddie Howe is like, it's not like it's a manager that's come from a team that's normal, like that knows how to deal with finances, and it's not like he's come from a team that's giving him millions and millions to spend like before he got to Newcastle. Like, this is something that he's had to show he knows how to do, and it's the first time we're kind of seeing, because it's easy for you to have unlimited funds and just throw money at the situation, but you can really tell he's looking for who identifies with the culture of his team, who identifies with the tactics that he implements for others. He's not just gonna get like a mad player and then think, oh, where to stick him in. He already knows what he wants from that player, and that's why he gets that player. I mean, for me, you have him, you have De Zerbi, who's been great. Obviously, like since as I said, like they just became better. Potter laid the foundation, but they became better. I'm still gonna put Arteta into there because Arteta is not a bad manager. I've never thought he was a bad manager, and what he's done, the way Arsenal play football right now is beautiful. Like Arsenal play very good football. I'm always gonna put Pep there, and I'm gonna put that there because I genuinely have no idea how he created that formation. Like I don't know how he's looked at that and been like, yeah, this will work. And it's a knock-on effect because he does something and then everyone starts doing it. Or people start to look to it. So he's the guy people are following. They're looking at what's Pep doing. Again, with Arteta, I'm not gonna say like Pep taught him everything he knows, but he definitely learned a lot from Arteta. Arteta definitely learned a lot from Pep, and Arteta is now putting that into practice. You know, so he's a great manager. Not only is he can see his impact over the league now. Someone that's won 3 in a row. Liverpool won, of course, and then we won 2 before that. 5 in 6 years isn't something that can be done easily because you're going to have to keep chopping and changing, and everyone's going to think they're going to find you out, and then you're going to have to change again. So the fact that he's even able to come up with a whole different approach to the game, like now, halfway through a season as well, I have to commend that. You know?
He responded. I mean, it's a comeback. I feel it's always easier being the hunter than the hunted. But he adapted where necessary, and they had a great season. Emery already mentioned deserves a shout. But are we concluding on how, or what's the final?
Yeah, I'll take how.
Yeah, we can conclude on how. It's like Newcastle being in the Champions League. That's not a normal sentence.
Yeah,
Newcastle getting relegated. What's that thing called on FIFA? Alex Hunter.
The journey.
Newcastle.
The journey.
Newcastle
The
in
journey.
Championship, bro. Like that was not too long ago. So yeah, huge flowers to them. They're one of the big boys again. Obviously, they have to sort of repeat it and maybe get to the knockout stages of Champions League because they're not going to be in a great pot because obviously they haven't been in the Champions League for so long. But hopefully they get a good draw. I know Arsenal are pot 2, City obviously pot 1. United Heritage probably puts them in pot 1. I can't remember how they're doing the new thing, but I think we've covered everything on what has been an emotional Premier League season. I've lost my voice at different points.
I've been crying the whole season, man. Sadness every week. At some point, I couldn't watch, but I had to stay strong and watch and cry.
Yeah, I'll see you boys next season. Yeah. I'll see you boys next season.
This guy's life is too easy.
Don't worry. When Pep leaves,
that guy's not leaving.
When Pep leaves,
we'll rejoice. My house, I'll send everybody.
I will rejoice.
We'll rejoice that night, but
okay,
part 2. We'll see you guys this summer.